Welcome to the introduction to speed picking. Of all the skills that it takes to play shred guitar, I believe that speed picking is the most difficult to master. It is also the most difficult to teach. Now, there are several mechanics involved in being able to pick fast. And the first one that we need to start out with, is called tremolo picking. Now, Michelangelo Badio, he calls this the Lamborghini. Okay? What you're going to do is you're going to pick one note just as fast as you can. You're not going to worry about changing notes, not going to worry about changing strings. Okay, just getting that picking motion as fast as it can go on one note. You know, when you're speed picking, you're never going to be able to exceed that speed. However, the one caveat that I have is that you can improve that picking speed itself. And I have a couple exercises. We're going to use some famous tunes in order to do this. We're going to use the famous line from Eruption, and then we're going to use a line from Battle Axe by Quiet Riot. And Eruption is all done on one string. Battle Axe requires you to chain strings, so that's a little bit more difficult. Now, when it comes to string crossing, teaching this skill it's been a mystery for decades. There's been lots of really scary players out there. Michelangelo Badio, for one, Paul Gilbert, Yngwie Malmsteen, Vinnie Moore. They've had videos out since the 80s trying to teach people how to pick fast. But nobody really had the skill to teach this until this major breakthrough came across. This guy named Troy Grady, he's out on YouTube. He's kind of like, he's the latest greatest thing when it comes to shred guitar. Well, if you want to learn how to pick fast, his material is an absolute must to watch. He has a series called Cracking the Code, and his pick slanting primer this is all up for free on YouTube now. There's obviously more advanced stuff that you can pay for, and you can get onto his website and watch that stuff. But all the stuff that you need to learn is right there for free on YouTube. So when it comes to crossing the strings, what Troy Grady discovered is these specific mechanics using the pick in order to cross. And he calls the first one downward pick slanting. The next one is upward pick slanting. Then there is two-way pick slanting. And the final and most difficult one is the double escape motion. Now, when you're learning to pick fast, there's several different kinds of motions that you can do. You can pick from the arm, which comes from the elbow. A lot of times when you're an arm player, it creates a lot of tension in your shoulder, in your elbow. I used to be an arm player before I went to GIT. And one thing that Troy Grady is kind of loose on, that I'm not going to be as loose on in this series, is picking from the wrist, or the turning the key motion. Basically, this is the way that I was taught, and this is how I'm going to pass it on to you. If you choose to use a different motion, that is up to you. But this is the way that I was taught, and I believe that it is accurate, especially for when you start learning how to pick slant. This is going to lend itself much more easily. So I use what they call turning the key. So if you hold up your hand and you turn it like this, okay, that creates the motion where you cross the strings with. Now, when it comes to pick slanting, you're going to be able to change that motion without much effort. Whereas if you're picking from your arm like this, changing your pick slant is going to be really awkward. Okay, now Michelangelo Badio has a really kind of odd way of holding the pick, and it kind of looks like he's using this motion. And he looks like he's kind of an upward pick slanter. Now, before we get too deep into it, most players tend to play with a downward pick slant, like Eric Johnson, Yngwie Malmsteen. However, Michelangelo Badio looks like he's a natural upward pick slanter, and I happen to be one of those alien people that I am also an upward pick slanter. The way I want to teach you, I want you to learn how to do both. And if you're just starting out learning speed picking, that's probably better than if you've been doing this for a while and you've actually acclimated to one or the other. If you can learn to do both in the beginning, it's not going to be as difficult to get this skill down.